As Congress spent the weekend working on aid for the country, President Trump was taking meetings focused on overturning his election loss. CBS News has confirmed President Trump floated appointing Sidney Powell as special counsel to investigate voter fraud. Powell was disavowed by the president's legal team after she promoted baseless conspiracy theories about the election, including one claiming former Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez programmed voting machines to switch votes. Chavez died in 2013. Also reportedly at the White House meeting, former National Security Advisor and presidential pardon recipient Michael Flynn. Last week, he suggested the president could deploy the military for a do-over election.
He could order within the swing states, if he wanted to, he could take military capabilities and he could place them in those states and basically rerun an election in each of those states. I mean, it's not unprecedented. I mean, these people out there talking about martial law, it's like it's something that we've never done. Martial law has been instituted 64 times, Greg. So I'm not calling for that. We have a constitutional process.
According to the New York Times, President Trump was asked about the idea of imposing martial law at that White House meeting. He pushed back, calling it fake news. Caitlin Huey-Burns and Eugene Scott join me now. Caitlin is CBSN's political reporter. Eugene is a political reporter for The Washington Post and host of the podcast The Next 4 Years. Welcome to both of you. Caitlin, let me start with you. The New York Times, who first reported this meeting, also says President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, reached out to the Department of Homeland Security to see if they could seize voting machines from key swing states. Here is more from outgoing Attorney General Bill Barr this morning. Let's listen.
If I thought a special counsel at this stage was the right tool and was appropriate, I would name one, but I haven't, and I'm not going to. I see no basis now for seizing machines by the federal government. You know, a wholesale seizure of machines by the federal government.
Barr passed on appointing a special counsel on unfounded election fraud claims and on Hunter Biden's finances. But of course, Barr is on his way out. So, Caitlin, where does the push to overturn election results go next?
Well, those moves by the president's legal team shows that they are kind of beyond the grasping of straws portion of the program. They really don't have any legal recourse left. Remember, all of the lawsuits that they had brought forward were roundly dismissed by judges from both political parties across the country. The Electoral College already certified the results of the election, and in just a few weeks' time, on January 6th, Congress is set to do so as well. So this suggestion or this interest by Rudy Giuliani going to Ken Cuccinelli, who's the deputy Homeland Security chief, asking if they could seize these voting machines really shows you kind of how much of a sense of desperation they are in. Now, Cuccinelli said that that wasn't possible, and the Homeland Security Agency oversees the cybersecurity agency CISA, which is in charge of protecting elections. And remember, the president fired the head of CISA after he said that this election was the most secure in history. So this shows kind of where the Trump team's legal team, however scant it is at this moment of time when you've had the Electoral College confirm the results and Mitch McConnell, of course, the Republican Senate leader, congratulating President-elect Biden.
And Eugene, what are the broader implications of these potential moves from the presidency in regard to what it says about the legitimacy of the election process beyond his term?
Well, this approach coming from the president and some of his staunchest supporters is sure to just deepen partisanship and polarization and increase a lack of trust in the electoral process, specifically from Republicans and those who support the president. The sad reality is much of what Michael Flynn said was simply not true. Something that he proposed, the idea he proposed would in fact be unprecedented, and there's no legal standing for it. But that won't keep people who believe that he is someone worth listening to from encouraging that narrative. And there's conservative media who will be able to also suggest that this is an approach that the president could take or should take. But we see that the president has not given any signals that he will take it, but that doesn't mean that he will stop suggesting that the election was unfair and cannot be trusted and is a fraud. This will be a note that we should expect him to continue to play when he leaves the White House, because it is popular with the people who support him most. And ultimately, that is not going to help bring America closer together in ways that the president said he hoped to after he won his first election and what seems like his only election following the 2016 campaign.
And Eugene, on the topic of the political future of the Republican Party, your latest analysis article for The Post looks at how white evangelical voters could see their influence on politics fade after their close alignment with President Trump. Why is that?
Well, we could argue that the most influential group on the right politically is white evangelicals. They have exercised their political influence during this presidency in ways that we haven't seen before. But white evangelicals are not solely a political group, and you could argue that they aren't primarily even a political group. They're a religious group with the goal and purpose and hope of expanding their ranks with adding new believers. But what they have done in aligning themselves with a deeply unpopular president has made them unpopular as well, especially to some of the groups that are some of the most quickly growing, should I say, in America, such as people of color and young people and women. And so it'll be quite interesting to see what this group of voters, this group of influencers is able to do when Trump leaves the White House to continue to assert its influence, just not in politics and culture, but in other ways as well.
And Caitlin, before we move on, we learned this morning that House Democrats are issuing subpoenas for President Trump's Health and Human Services Secretary, Alex Azar, and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Director, Dr. Robert Redfield. What led to this demand for documents?
Right, so this is the committee that is overseeing the coronavirus response, and they say that they asked for these documents originally in September and did not receive them, so now they are issuing subpoenas. And what they are focused on are about 14 reports that they allege show that high administration officials within the CDC and DHS were involved in political maneuvering when it came to certain reports about coronavirus. For example, alleging that a senior official had tried to alter or change or block a report on hydroxychloroquine, of course, that drug that the president was promoting. So they say that they asked for these documents back in September, did not receive them, issued these subpoenas requiring these documents to be in by the end of the year. Republicans are saying that this is political, but Democrats are arguing that this is part of the oversight and the administration's handling of the pandemic. And it does suggest that the oversight of how Trump handled coronavirus will outlast his presidency.
Caitlin Huey-Burns and Eugene Scott, thanks to both of you for joining us.